Laguna gets locked out. Doom is up. Laguna rebuffs in the meantime. Halter has landed. Pets down onto Laguna. Dark Soul Demon Bolt is trying to fly out, but he does manage to portal out of line of sight of that near-death experience. The Chaos Waves come crashing in, and that's the full Hex landed onto Drain. He's trying to sit through it without trinketing. In the meantime, the Death Knight has forced Barskin from Looney in the backline, who is low on mana. He might even go for a drink in this situation. He is going to go for a drink. This is a great time, and if he gets mana back, this could be trouble. The Death Knight does land the Death and Decay, though, denying that drink, so good awareness from the Shadowcleave to stop that, and Walrus is being pressured fairly hard. The Haunt is on him at 40% HP. Looney trying to go for some clones, but there's the Pet Stun onto Drain. They're swapping over to the Death Knight, who has Ironbark, he has AMS. He should be able to survive, but that's a full Halter. Walrix into the Pet Stun. I believe he Dark Simmed the Cyclone. He's going to throw it back onto Walrix to deny the kill on himself, so great Dark Sim from the Death Knight here on the Shadowcleave, stealing that CC and denying the cooldowns, and now Zeepai being pressured fairly hard here in the center. He has that Sham Wall available should he need to use it. Looney going for the Dispel on the dots, but they're instantly reapplied with the Haunt, dipping Zeepai to 50% HP. The Drain Soul's up with Dark Soul. That's a bunch of damage coming in, but there's no CC. Death Grip comes onto Zeepai. He's trying to get whatever damage he can. There's the stun onto Looney, forcing the Sham Wall from Zeepai, but he pops the Aura Mastery. He's trying to go for some damage here, going for a Hex out of the Pet Stun. Not going to land it. Just, yeah, he does land it. The AMS is going to be fading Halter onto Laguna, and Drain had to trinket the Hex, but he's still having a hard time picking up the Death Knight, who's just in the center of the map. He's going to get cloned low HP, a bash onto Drain now, maybe a Cyclone out. They'd land the Cyclone. This is it. Chaos Wave connects 2%. Live Lord, the Death Knight himself, gets the Hellstone out, gets the Dark Simulacron, but he didn't steal anything. They locked the clone out, but he is somehow alive in that situation, but he's still in the center of the map. He needs to get the heck out of there. 20% HP. He's trying to lock out Zeepai. He does manage to lock out the Chain Lightning, but he's getting chunked so hard. Walrix gets asphyxiated. He's going to unbound Will out of that, but he gets a UA Dispel as a result, so he can't keep the pressure up. There's the Halter, though, forcing the AMS once again. The Imps come out. He's trying to go for a Half Fear. He lands the Half Fear onto Drain. This Death Knight running for his life from this Demonology Warlord at this point. Dark Soul comes out. He gets bashed on it. He's going to go for the Demon Bolt out of this. I believe he got locked on the Fear, so he can't just yet. And this Death Knight has somehow managed to survive throughout this onslaught from Walrix and Zeepai, and now we're moving into dampening, and this is where the Shadowcleave has a shot with their AoE pressure, and they're popping the Gargoyle out onto Walrix, trying to pressure him and deny all of his burst, as that Demon Bolt is core to their ability to win this game. Laguna has full dots finally onto the entire team. Looney's mana is starting to be pressured, and in the meantime, Drain is getting an amazing drink. Walrix with the Demonology Leap is going to stop that drink, and now Looney going for a drink. He's going to get Death Gripped into the full Asphyxiate. He's going to Barkskin maybe a little bit too late from the Breath of Cindergosa. Walrus going for the Fears on the Laguna, trying to deny the Haunts and Dot pressure from him, but that Barskin was forced. He had to use the NS as well. Dark Soul from Laguna now afterwards. He's banishing the Warlock Pet even. He's trying to pressure Walrus without that Soul Link. He's doing a good job so far, but the Unholy Pet's going to fall down to the damage of Walrix, but this is the Shadowcleave Rot pressure. This Dark Soul is accomplishing so much. Walrix is pushing in, but he's 20%. The Haunt connects. Drain Soul is up. He's reconsidering this. He's trying to pull back. Drain Soul is just chunking him solo. He pops the Frenzied Regen, but the bash onto the DK, will he go down? Ironbark is up. Halter onto Drain. He's barely sustaining himself with that Death Pact. The Demon Bolt does get interrupted there. He's going to top off. Now Looney on the back foot into the Shadow for his entire team at 30% HP. The Fear's going to land on him, but he's getting pressured as well. Walrix cloned up low HP. The Ironbark is fading onto Zeepai. Laguna doing an amazing job keeping the dots up on the whole team so far, but a Tranquility coming up from Looney just in the nick of time. That AoE, he's going to get cloned up maybe here. He's going to manage to LOS it, but Drain did stop the Tranquility just in time. Walrix dipping fairly low here, locked on Soulfire, going for the Drain live. Maybe he even dies through it. Soul Reaper's up. The NS comes out from Looney just in time, picking him up, but he's getting chunked through the NS as well. He throws out the Demonic Leap, Halter onto Drain, pressuring the Death Knight now. Dark Soul Chaos Waves are coming in. AMS is over. 13%. Lichburn comes up in desperation. That's it! Walrix taking him down personally. What a game. All right, that concludes the winners round 2, I believe. So it's going to confirm our losers round 1, which we're going to move forward to. And Laguna's going to be playing again immediately here in the losers round 1. All these teams that have lost have a second chance. He's going to be going up against the Shatter play. Babo the Mage. Babu. And I think this God Comp might have a hard time dealing with the spread pressure that Laguna and this Death Knight are capable of. So I'm just going to get in touch with both of the teams again. Make sure they're ready to go. I do not see... Oh, no, he is on. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's jump into that. Laguna gets a second chance to come back in. Babo the Mage needs 1 second. I'm going to set up the UI here. This next game, it's going to be Shadow Cleave once again with Laguna. And it's going to be Babo the Mage on the God Comp. Just getting their names in. Dragging them into the add-on. They're both ready, so we should be able to queue up very shortly here. Alright, both teams are ready. It's going to start on the Grand Arena. We got a new series here. We're in round 1 of the losers bracket. Both these teams trying to make a comeback. Let's see if they can do it. Which team comes on top? And which team will succumb to the pressure and get knocked out? I have sent out the Wargame request. Let's hope that they get it, so we don't have to wait any longer for them games. For them games, you know, them games. Alright, I think the queue had a problem, so I'm just going to give it a second, and then we're going to try and queue up again. Alright, let's try this again. Queuing it up. Queuing it up, queuing it up. The queue is popped in the Grand Arena. We got Shadowclave going up against God Comp. Let's see if Babo the Mage, Miley on Restoration Druid, and Frosty on Shadow Priest can pull through the immense pressure from Laguna and his team. Because it is real. The rot pressure is real. Miley's going to have to deal with that as best as he can. Target choice is key here for the God Comp. Who do you go after? Are you going to go after the Death Knight who's pressuring your Druid most likely? Do you go after Laguna, who's a little bit harder to stick to with his portal and everything else? It's definitely a hard choice. They could go after Drain. I've seen God Comps capable of killing Resto Druids. That's a possibility. So Laguna and his team are going to have to be on their toes as far as targets go. But again, this is pretty standard play, I think, from the Shadow Cleave. Dots on everyone, grip, stun, swaps onto Miley, constantly pressuring him, ooming him, dragging the game out as long as they can without dying, obviously. And this Death Knight is a Live Lord. Like, Walrick's team, they're the best LSD in the world, by far. And they survived by the skin of their teeth so many times, so they definitely have the capability here. Early Death and Decay connecting onto Frosty. The Icicle's getting built up from Babo the Mage. He can't afford to Mind Freeze these early Frostbolts. He needs to save it for the Polymorphs and Cyclones, as they are detrimental to his team. The Gargoyle coming out. There's the Grip Asphyxia onto Miley. Full dots onto everyone. He's going to Trinket Displacer Beast immediately away from the Dark Soul there, but now Babo the Mage gets locked on Poly. He's getting pressured by the remaining Breathless Cindergosa that's up. The Frostbolt's getting spammed out here, but there's no pressure from this God Comp. Entire team is loaded up with dots. He's trying to push in for that Deep Freeze Polymorph. He's going to land it. Didn't need to use the Ring of Frost. Now he's got full Icicles built up. There's the Horrify into Laguna. They're going to pressure him with the Comet Storm, but Babo the Mage gets Pet Stun, denying a lot of damage. There's the Fear out from Frosty, though. Nice CC chain so far onto Drain, the Shadowcleave Restoration Druid. The Ice Novas are going to connect. He could go down. He's going to have to activate that Dark Regen, Hellstone, and Gateway to the center of the map in line of sight of Drain here, but now he's put into the Silence. He actually had to Trinket out of the Shadow Priest Silence, and as I was saying, they have no pressure. They get almost every CD. That was NS as well from Drain, so Laguna's going to have to play safe. The Death Knight pushes in with a stun onto Miley, trying to swap over to him, but without the dots, he can't afford to pursue that target. The Roots now being spammed out. He's going to desecrate a ground out of that, grip Miley in. Kind of a wasted grip. He does manage to get full dots from it. The Dark Soul from Laguna is up, a full Polymorph onto Drain, but they're going to break it with the Ice Nova. Good stacking up of Laguna and Drain there to deny that, but now the Deep Freeze comes in. He gets Shadow Furied on the Ring of Frost, but the Fear is landed by Frosty. Good follow-up by him, but the CC chain is over. Now Death Knight is into a full Polymorph, into a half Polymorph, into a quarter Polymorph even here soon. Polymorphs all over. Haunt onto Frosty, though. He's going to get cloned, low HP, denied denying the healing from Drain. Now they're swapping over to Miley with that full stun, full row of dots. Soul Reaper is up. There's the last quarter polymorph. He's going to Iron Bark himself, go into bear form, try and heal through this pressure. That wasn't Dark Soul, so he's going to be able to heal through it just fine with the Iron Bark. Now Bob the Mage trying to go for a Ring of Frost. Not going to be able to land it. He did land the full polymorph, however. Now the Ice Nova is being thrown up, but Laguna is defensive as all hell right now. He does get a banish onto the Shadow Fiend, so really good awareness there to deny that. Now going for Fears onto Frosty. He's going to Spectral Guise it into the Shadow Fury now. I believe he got locked out on that Fear, so he's not going to be able to activate the Dark Region's not even available. This could be the game. 30% HP, Silence onto Drain. He's going for Desperation Fears onto Frosty at this moment. Breaks immediately, clones him low HP, denies the Swift Mend healing. Polymorphs onto the Death Knight here. He throws at the Asphyxiate, trying to counter pressure on whatever he can, but he's just a sheep. Laguna's going to gateway back to the other side of the map. Drain is going to be able to connect back with him as well. Now into the Deep Freeze. They need to stop this Polymorph, but the Polymorph's going to connect. The Comet Storm comes down into Laguna in that disarm. He has no gateway, no portal for a few more seconds. He could be in a lot of trouble here. Polymorph's being spammed right now. The full Fear landed by Frosty once again. As long as he's getting that Fear, that CC chain is so deadly. Now into the half poly, a bash on the Laguna. Moonfire is being thrown out by Miley. He's trying to participate on the kill over here. Devouring Plague comes up, dipping him to about half HP, but he's just going to portal out of line of sight, recover for now. We're only 3 minutes into this game, and so many cooldowns being blown. Dark Soul coming out from Laguna now, trying to pressure the God Comp onto the defensive. Frosty in the center of the map, fully dotted. Bob the Mage fully dotted. Miley even fully dotted, but now the Deep Freeze Ring of Frost coming down onto Drain. The Polymer's going to land, but they're pressuring Miley in the meantime. That was the Breath of Cinder. Gosa forcing the Displacer Beast and Trinket and Barkskin from Miley. Laguna with the Devouring Plague, though, might end up going down. He has the Dark Regen available. He's trying to save it and go for the defensive Fears onto Frosty. He's going to land one of them. He's going to line of sight, go for another one. He gets that Fear. Bob the Mage now being pressured. The Soul Reaper's up, but with no CC onto Miley and that Nature's Vigil healing cooldown up from Miley, he should be able to keep his team sustained. Maybe not topped off, but sustained for now. And we're just going to be waiting for about 30 seconds on that Dark Soul from Laguna to come up. He's going for even more annoying Fears onto Frosty, trying to deny whatever he can. He does lock him out on that Vampiric Touch, now going for the Mind Spikes. Bob the Mage has built up a full 5 stack of Icicles, though. He might unload this onto the Death Knight here. He's dipping to about 80% HP. The Death Knight here trying to counter pressure whatever he can onto Frosty for now. Polymorph onto the Death Knight now. He's going to get dispelled out of that from the Resto Druid Drain. Good dispels from him. They're pushing in now onto Laguna, trying to get whatever they can. Laguna's going to sack his pet for an extra counterspell. Polymorph does not land on anyone. There's the Deep Freeze. Horrify into Laguna. He's not going to be able to stop the poly. Full poly lands. No cooldown or no trinket available. Laguna into the full bash. He's going to trinket out of that immediately and portal to the other side of the map. Pet interrupt, denying the entangling roots on Miley. Good pet control from the Death Knight there. A Fear onto the Resto Druid, though. A root onto the Death Knight as well. He's going to Lichborn and try and get out of whatever CC he can. Ironbark was forced out of Drain onto Laguna. Now he sacrifices his pet. He's trying to get another counterspell on an incoming Polymorph here as Deep Freeze comes up in about 3 seconds. And he does get topped off by Drain for now. We're almost into Dampening Land with 15 seconds left. A clone onto Frosty. They're trying to delay the game as much as they can. Dark Simulacron coming out there from the Death Knight here. I don't believe he stole anything of value. Now thrown into the Polymorph. Deep Freeze onto the Resto Druid Drain. Ring of Frost is going to land full onto him, pressuring Laguna in the center of the map. He's going to pop his Dark Soul, though, and actually counter pressure and portal back here. He does have a fair amount of dots right now. He does get feared up, though. It's actually just going to break to the damage. Now going for the defensive Fears onto Frosty with the Shadow Fear. In the meantime, the Death Knight is pressuring Miley very hard with the offensive AMS. Laguna and Miley being pressured so hard, 40% on both sides. Amplify Magic activated just in time from Baba the Mage, giving Miley the extra little boost of healing he needs to heal through this dot pressure. Gets the regrowth off. He's going to sustain his team for now, but Dampening is in. Laguna gets locked on that first haunt, but he connects with the second haunt. Might force the dispersion from Frosty. He's trying to save it as long as he can, kiting here with the feathers in the center of the map, but this Death Knight is relentless. They asphyxiate onto Miley for CC. He's going to grip him in as well. He's going to get loaded up on dots here shortly, but Laguna into the Polymorph. He's just getting polyed so many times he can't get the dots out that he needs. The disarmament of the Death Knight, they're swapping over to him. He gets the AMS off in time. Shadow Fear onto Frosty. He's trying to deny the Fear out of this Ring of Frost, but he's not going to be able to. Frosty's right there. He's going to land the Fear. This Death Knight in so much trouble. The Death Pact's going to be used, but they're shredding through it. 20%. That's it! Wow, so much damage. A great swap finally from the God Comp there to take down this Shadow Cleave. All right, we're going to get a map choice from Laguna here. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what map they're going to go with. They are going to go with Dalaran Arena. Much smaller map. Death Knight's going to be able to pressure a little bit harder. But they definitely need to drag the game out. If it's not a long game, their team does not hold the advantage. Resto Druids heal exceptionally well through dots, especially when they don't have a Mortal Strike effect. That's why WLS can pressure a Resto Druid a little bit more, but with the Death Knight, you don't have the Mortal Strike debuff to reduce healing, so Miley has a fairly easy time healing through it. Amplify Magic is even more potent. Even the Prayer Mendings from Frosty, as he throws them out, is also going to heal for a significant amount. So there's a lot of defensive healing utility with Flame Glow, Decurse. It makes the God Comp very tanky, which means you need to go later into the game. You need to have the healing debuffs up from dampening to be able to pressure through all of that defensive utility. And I feel like the Death Knight might have just got caught off guard as they were tunneling Laguna for so long. It was almost 7 minutes of tunneling Laguna and then just this random swap. And he kind of got crushed through his Death Pact. But let's see if he'll be prepared for that in this game on the second round on Dalaran Arena. Miley's God Comp doing a good job, even though early on they were getting pressured very hard, not getting too much done, but they managed to push through it and get the game there and pull off the win. Drain throwing off the pre-hots onto his Death Knight so he can pressure immediately here. Baba the Mage did actually manage to blink in and stop the gateway from Laguna. He's positioned down below, still trying to get a gateway off here. He might get polymorphed on it. He's going to lock the polymorph. He lands the gateway, so that's going to be secured for now. The Death Knight gripping Miley in and Breathless Intergosa was used there as well. He's just going to Trinket Displacer Beast out and save his Barkskin. A bit of a haphazard opener here from this Shadow Cleave. Now the Iron Bark used onto the Death Knight here. He's getting pressured very hard. Has to use the AMS. Silence onto Drain. He has the Vigil up. He's throwing the Hots out as soon as he can onto this Death Knight here. Laguna's trying to go for some fears, but they're just going to break immediately. Now the Shadow Priest Frosty has landed a fear onto Drain. This Death Knight could just go down in the opener. He has Death Pact available. He activates the Lichborn. He's using the Death Coil healing on himself with that Lichborn, and he's going to gateway away back to Drain here on the other side of the map behind the boxes. He should be able to top him off. Baba the Mage getting locked out on a polymorph. The dot's finally being thrown out, but Baba the Mage is going to answer that with the Amplify Magic. Maybe a little bit of a mistimed Amplify Magic there. Laguna still has a Dark Soul available, so they can maybe pressure through that. Drain Soul being spammed out here from Laguna. Soul swapping the dots onto Miley. Possibly a Grip Stun swap here in a second. The AMS offensive and defensive at the same time here. He's trying to Dark Simulacron on something, but he's not going to get anything. There's the Asphyxia onto Miley, finally swapping over to him, but the dots have fallen off. It's not even going to pressure his Barkskin. He's just going to come out with a Swift Mend, the Deep Freeze onto Drain now. The full Ring of Frost does get Shadow Fury'd by Laguna. Good denial of that CC from him. Now the entire God Comp is starting to rot. Haunts up onto Frosty. They need to maintain this dot pressure, though, if they want to keep the momentum swinging. Miley is keeping himself fairly well hotted right now, but he does get fully dotted. Drain even going for a Wrath right now, trying to participate in the damage of this Shadow Cleave, but Miley gets the amazing Tranquility off back here. Not going to get stopped. That tops his entire team, so all of this offensive pressure is kind of gone for the time being. Laguna still has one Dark Soul available, should he choose to use it here. The Cyclone was stolen by the Death Knight here. He's going to Trinket out and throw that right back into Miley and start pressuring Frosty back here, as Frosty is very overextended, trying to get some CC onto Drain, who's just going to dash away from all of it. The Asphyxia onto Miley, he gets fully dotted up. Maybe a Death Grip swap onto him, but that's a Polymer from the Laguna. He's going to Unbound Will out of that to deny the Ring of Frost from Baba the Mage with his Counterspell and Shadow Fury. So good denial of the CC, but there's the silence onto Drain here. He's in travel form. Miley going for the Cyclone. He's going to land the full clone. It was not Dark Sim. The AMS is fading for this Death Knight here. He's at 30%. He activates Blood Presence just in time. Devouring Plague connects. It might force the Death Pact, and it does force the Death Pact, but he's dying through it just like last game. He's got the Icebound up. He needs some Death Strikes. He activates the Hellstone. He's going to throw out the stun, I believe, there onto the Shadow Priest, who's going to get cloned on his Trinket. Iron Bark is up onto him, but he just can't heal him. 14%. Lichborn is up. Death Coil healing's coming in, and Drain has somehow managed to pull this Death Knight back from the brink of destruction there, and they have recovered. 3 minutes into this game, Amplify Magic being used once again from Baba the Mage to try and counteract this Haunt damage, and Counterspell coming out, going to lock the Fear of Laguna, but the dots are already up, and you can start to see that Miley's feeling the pressure, dipping to about 80%. The Asphyxia onto Miley now, clone onto Frostby. Baba the Mage being pressured here, 50% health, but Miley's going to have an easy time. He's just throwing the roots out constantly. There's the disarmament of the Death Knight. He's going to desecrate ground out of that immediately, but the fear is landed onto Drain nonetheless, forcing the AMS from the Death Knight here, who's actually choosing to pop his Gargoyle and try and counter pressure this CC push from the God Comp, but it's not working in his favor. Icy Veins is up from Baba the Mage. He's getting those really fast polymorphs off. Shadow Fury finally onto Frosty. He's trying to deny that fear, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Actually, fear not available for quite some time. He's going to throw out the silence instead. Fairy Fire as well to deny that Shadow Meld, which isn't actually off cooldown just yet. He does get the Iron Bark onto the Death Knight here. He is throwing some regrowths out. He doesn't get locked out on it, trying to throw out whatever healing he can. The Death Knight, I believe, actually stole that Cyclone from Miley should he throw it out here. He throws it out onto Frosty to deny some more damage. Laguna going for some fears, but it's just going to break immediately on these dots. He's doing a good job keeping the dots up, but it means they can't get the CC out. Full poly onto Drain. This Death Knight in a bit of trouble here, and this is a full bash. He's going to trinket out of that, activate the AMS. He is camping Blood Presence for now and LOSing back here with Drain, waiting for the CC to end, but now Drain into the full fear. Laguna is peeling the Mage, and Baba the Mage is actually going to trinket to go for these Ice Novas, which is chunking him very hard. He throws the Asphyxiate onto Frosty to deny those Shadow Word deaths, and the NS is going to connect from Drain, and it crits huge onto the Death Knight here. Now he can push offensively onto Frosty, as Frosty is pulling back to Miley here, and Miley is starting to dip low on mana. Unlike last game, Drain is doing an amazing job maintaining his mana. Vampiric Touch coming out, Devouring Plague as well a little bit earlier there, but there's the Death Grip swap onto Miley, activates the Bear Form immediately, and now the Polymorph Cyclone onto the Death Knight here, Deep Freeze onto the Restoration Druid. Nice Shadow Fury though from Laguna to deny the Polymorph. Baba the Mage kind of in an awkward position now with these Icicles, unable to get the CC. He's going to have to be a little bit more patient. More fears coming onto him. He's trying to spell steal the Hots and keep his target clean, which appears to be the Death Knight, and I feel like they need to make more swaps. Only one target just allows Drain to keep full Hots, but Miley's going for a drink and stealth right now. They need to stop this. A Hurricane coming out from Drain, denying the rest of that drink, but I believe he did get a substantial amount of mana. He's going for the drink again, even though Baba the Mage and Frosty are being pressured fairly hard here. The Iron Bark preemptively before the Deep Freeze on the Laguna should sustain him. He is silenced as well. He's trying to LOS so he can activate that Dark Regen should he need to later. There's the full bash as well with a fear onto Drain. They're trying to pressure through it. Dipping him to about 70%. Comet Storm comes in, but now there's Asphyxiate onto Miley. Frosty is being pressured fairly hard by the Death Knight here down below on the stairs, dipping to about 80%, but like I said, both these teams play well. There's the Breath of Cinder Ghost actually with the Dark Soul, pressuring Frosty even harder. The Polymorph's being spammed out here onto the Death Knight. He's going to desecrate the ground immediately out of that. There's the Amplify Magic out from Baba the Mage, trying to give Miley a little bit more time to recover. He's going to take that time to dispel some dots, but the Haunt connects onto Miley, dipping him to about 50% HP. Polymorph onto Drain. Laguna getting swapped to here. He has his Dark Regen available, so he shouldn't go down. They just need to be aware of the potential swaps. The Death Knight could get caught in Unholy Presence. He throws the Dark Sim onto Frosty. I believe he actually stole a Fear there. Should he choose to throw that out. He's activating the Lichborn. He's going to heal himself up with the Death Coils while Drain is in CC. Now the Gnaw stun coming onto Frosty. He's trying to pressure him, but he gets thrown into the full Cyclone. Not going to be able to interrupt or stop that. Laguna playing very far back with Drain right now, maintaining their dot lead and waiting for dampening here. The bash onto the Death Knight in Unholy Presence. Like I was saying, they're catching him out. He activates Blood, but way too late. 19%. He's going to have to use the Death Pact as well. They're trying to shred through that with a full fear onto Drain's Trinket. Really good fear from Frostby. The Iron Bark is fading. He activates the AMS. He's pulling back as far as he can defensively. Drain is going to reconnect with that NS. Top his Death Knight off for now. Now he's throwing the Asphyxiate. Unfortunately, DR'd onto Frostby and try and counter pressure him, but Miley's in the back line, not CC'd and not very dotted right now. He's going to even just dispel the dots. The Gargoyle coming out as well from the Death Knight here. He's trying to pressure as much as he can. Now the Dark Soul as well, but Miley's just going to answer all these cooldowns with a really well-timed Tranquility in the back line, topping his team off, and now he's going to go for a Drink and Cow Farm maybe? No, he's going to get D&D'd by the Death Knight and swap too. So this Death Knight trying to pressure him, but he gets thrown into the Polymorph. Unfortunately, he breaks to the Frostbolt or something there. He's going to break that, but they're swapping over to the Restoration Druid, forcing the Bark Skin on that Deep Freeze. No CC chain just out of that, but there's the, the keeping on your toes. This guy has the potential to swap to anyone. Now the Asphyxiate onto Miley. Soul Reaper's up, but he should be able to survive this. Power Word Shield thrown out from Frostby. Good defensive utility from him there to save Miley. And this Shadow Cleave isn't pressured too hard right now, which means Miley can try and go for a drink. He's not going to, though. Pushing out, maybe try and get a Cyclone to Drain. Drain's just going to LOS down below, throwing out the Regrowth now, trying to go for an Entangling Root onto the Death Knight. That's going to land. It's going to get dispelled, though, by Drain, I believe, or just broke on damage once again. They're swapping to Drain, though. No Bark Skin. He's in cat form. Devouring Plague is up. This could be it for him. Deep Freeze connects. No Trinket. That's it. It's over. Silence. Wow. Just so much damage from the God Comp there. The Death Knight not giving up, though. Breath of Cinder goes up on the Shadow Priest. The Ironbark Dispersion should be enough of an answer. They are trying to take down Miley before they go down, but I don't think it's going to happen. Devouring Plague up into Laguna. He's going to get Shadow Word Death. Both of them connect. He goes down. Really nice swap from the God Comp in the end there. Taking down Drain. Very well played. All right, so that means that the Shatterplay is going to progress to fight against the RMP of PS Hero. But we're going to play the series last second. Zonika's Jungle Cleave going up against Toxic Youth, who may have a comp switch up. I'm just going to try and get in touch with them. Just letting which teams know when they're playing next. All right, there's going to be a change on the LSD2 side, so I'm just going to let this other team know what's going on so they're not caught off guard. Are you guys ready? There's going to be a sub-in. There was a sub-in for Zpie's team, so I believe we're allowing one sub-in. And it is actually going to be Botar. His voice must not be dead enough to play in the tournament. It abandons me here to talk alone. My voice is kind of on the ropes. GG, my voice. But they are going to switch it up to Holy Paladin, which is a great addition against a comp like Jungle Cleave. So I'm just waiting for Zonika to not be AFK. Zonika, man, he's always late. He is always late. Where is this man? Where does he go? All right, let's see. One team is ready. I'm just trying to make sure that Zonika is here. I'm going to actually try and get in touch with him on another form of communication. Disqualify Botar for ditching me. Man, I should. That's rude, man. Ditches me. Alright, we're still waiting for Zonika. Getting messages that PS Hero might have dropped out. I'm trying to get a hold of him to confirm that with him, as opposed to rumors and people messaging me, but PS Hero's team did end up rage quitting in the last series. A bit of a a counter comp matchup, so I don't blame them for throwing in the towel. It would have been nice to watch them play it out, but they did rage quit. So I'm curious if they actually are dropping out of the tournament entirely, or if they want to keep playing. I don't see him on Real ID. I don't know if anyone else can get in touch with PS Hero and get him to let me know from him. So I don't assume anything. If that is the case, then the Shatter play that won against Laguna Shadowcleave is going to progress again, if that is the case, which means we won't be able to play that series out. And it also means that the winner of this round is also going to get a free win. Okay, so how long have we been going today? We've been going 2.5 hours. How many more series do we have left? I'm trying to look at this, figure out time. All right, so we're just waiting. If PS Heroes team did end up rage quitting and dropping out of the tournament, that would be kind of a disappointment. I understand like the matchups that they got into with the current state of the game definitely weren't favorable for them. Probably very frustrating for them, but it would be a disappointment to see them drop out. If they do drop out, then the Shattered Play will progress again, and the winner of this series will actually progress twice as well because Lightning's DK Windwalker Paladin team had to drop out as his team abandoned him and did not show up. So between getting abandoned and between rage quitting, there's a lot of drama, I think. We're just waiting on Zonica, man. Where are you, Zonica? Zonica, Bueller, where are you? I need you. Please come back. Let's try and get a hold of them again. Hello? This potentially could be, I think, just looking at the brackets, this will be the last series of today, I believe. If PS Heroes team has dropped out, this will be the last series because the Shattered Play will progress to the losers round 3. Toxic Youth, if Zonica doesn't show up, will progress twice as well to the losers round 3, as there were 2 dropouts if PS Heroes team quit, which means we will be in round 3 with 4 series left and the semifinal. So we can finish that tomorrow. So we're just waiting on Zonica. I really want to be able to play this last series out. We are pretty strict with the teams, man. Like I'm going to disqualify this team if they don't show up. Like I will. I told them that they were playing. They should be ready, and you know what? We're gonna put them on a timer. We're gonna put them on a timer. I'm putting you on a timer, Zonica. Zonica, 10 minutes from now, you're DQ'd. 12:51. I think we waited long enough, so I'm going to give him confirmation that he has 10 minutes. Just going to scroll up through the chat log, make sure I didn't miss anything. Maybe he wanted to play tomorrow, but I'm going to check. Just looking up. And let's just look through the chat log. He did ask me when we're going to play, and I was in a game. I wasn't able to respond to him. How long ago was that? That was the series between Laguna. All right. Oh, Zonic is here. He's come back. He's not going to be knocked out. All right, all right, all right. You're next. Let's get the add-on set up here. It's going to be last second. Zonica's Jungle Cleave going up against Toxic Use LSD2, and they have made in a sub-in for Botar on Holy Paladin. Just getting them all into the add-on while he confirms if Zion's Fall is here. Apparently Zion's Fall might not be ready. Okay. Toxic Youth. This is the last series of the day, and then we're going to continue with round 3, semifinals and finals tomorrow. Should be able to get through all of it. Toxic Youth, last second, going to be starting on the Grand Arena. Just waiting on Zion's Fall now. All right. Just waiting for them to come back. I did give them 10 minutes, so he still has time. And I'm trying to find PS Hero in the meantime to see if he still intends to play. Does your team? Okay. All right. We're going to be having LSD2 with the Paladin going up against Jungle Cleave. We are just waiting for the teams at this point. Alright, and PS Hero is out. I did talk to PS Hero. They have rage quit. They are gone. Which means that the winner of this will advance to round 3, and the Shatter play advances to round 3 as well. So this will be the last series today. The last series, man. It's the last second in the last series, going up against Toxic Youth, who they did make a sub in to try and give them a little bit more of a fighting chance in terms of composition. We are just waiting. Are you guys ready? This is going to be the last series for today. They are ready. Alright, sorry. Alright, so we're going to get them all in here, get them all nice and snug in a bug and a rug. Why can't I drag him? Okay, we're ready to go. This is the last series of today, best of 3 on the Grand Arena. This team will progress to round 3 in the losers bracket. Which one will take it? Let's let them decide. And we do have Big Peter, the Deleter, playing the Feral Druid here on last second. Zion's Fall playing the Base Mastery Hunter. And Zonica, the most hated shaman in EU, playing Restoration. I don't know why he has that reputation, but you guys in chat seem to agree. And we have Swapsy over here on the Affliction Warlock, Alpro on the Balanced Druid, and Botar subbing in on Holy Paladin. Definitely gives them a little bit more of an edge against this melee-centric team. All physical damage, mostly, which means that Botar's Blessing and Protection is that much more valuable. But, you know, Big Peter the Deleter is a wild card. He could go after Botar. I'd like to see a little bit of a target variety from the the Jungle Cleave here. Maybe try and stop the gateway as well with a disengage. Swaps are going for the gateway. Should be able to get. He's actually going to go pillar to pillar to make sure that he does get the gate. Zonica pushing out very offensive here on the pillar with Zion's Fall. But double Shadow Fury is going to land onto them as a result. Going for the Cyclone now out of that. He does get interrupted. Alpro into the full trap, but no CC on the Botar. He's not able to dispel this trap, and they are going Botar. That's the Murder of Crows. He's going to gateway away, and Big Peter, the Deleter, wants something to say. Botar has to use the Avenging Wrath to try and counteract this early aggression onto him. He's just line of sighting with this sprint. Alpro does get cycloned up by Big Peter. In the meantime, Zion's Fall had to deterrence as a result of this pressure from Alpro and Swapsy. Full clone onto Big Peter. He has not used his incarnation though, and he did force the Avenging Wrath. Now a full bash onto Big Peter out of that Cyclone. He's going to get loaded up with dots. Zion's Fall now loaded up as well. Full trap onto Alpro, and he just has to sit. These Botars unable to dispel him. The barrage comes in, doing a bunch of damage to Botar, but he's somehow tanking through it. The incarnation now from Big Peter the Deleter is going to immediately get bopped by Botar, And with this recent Trank Shot nerf, he's not going to be able to Trank Shot this Bop off. He's going to be able to heal through it. Now a Hodge onto Zonica. Zion's Fall is feeling the pressure. He's trying to line of sight here, but he gets Shadow Fury'd up. The fear comes in. It's going to get pre-tremored, though, by Zonica. Now into the full Root Solar Beam. Zion's Fall desperately needs to freedom him. He does get the Master's Call onto Zonica, getting him out of that silence in the nick of time. Now going very aggressive onto Botar with that Murder of Crows. A trap onto Alpro. Good cross CC. He's going to get dispelled finally out of that trap and go for a Cyclone onto Big Peter, who's going to trinket immediately. And Botar taking a bunch of damage here. Had to use the Aura Master, and he's still not able to heal himself. He has to use the bubble as well now. Spamming the Flash of Lights. He's going to be able to top himself with the bubble, I would assume, here shortly. The Shadow Fury now into Zion's Fall as well as Zonica. And Zonica trinketing the full fear here. He's trying to keep his team offensive as they did finally get through the bubble. Botar still has his trinket now into the full Rake Stun, though. Zion's Fall into the Bash. The Star Surges are coming in hard. He's going to deterrence at high HP. That is a good deterrence there from Zion's Fall as he throws the full trap onto Alpro, and Botar gated across the map. He's not going to be able to dispel that. He's desperately trying to dispel him, but at the same time, it's putting him in a position where he's taking a bunch of damage. Alpro with the Mind Game Barkskin again, trying to get a clone off and force them off of Botar, as Botar has no defensive cooldowns left except for his trinket. Not that many dots loaded up. Zonica doing a good job dispelling and keeping the Riptides up. Big Peter does get locked out there on his Cyclone cast, though. Botar reasonably topped himself off here. He has his shield wall available for the next rotation of stuns. A Cyclone thrown out onto Alpro. A Fist of Justice onto Zonica. No CC out of that, though. And Botar's in trouble. That's a full maim. He's sitting it. That is so greedy. He does get Shadow Fury on his Barrage and Bestial Wrath, so that greed might pay off, but he's still getting chunked. The Murder of Crows is still up. 50% HP. Alpro going for some Cyclones. Going to land on Big Peter. He has no trigger for that. Zion's Fall being pressured with the Star Surges and Haunts. Full dots onto him. He's rotting very hard. Fear onto Zonica. Instantly freed him by Zion's Fall, and it's going to get the Spirit Link off just in time, so good teamwork there. Bash onto Zonica now, no trinket available. He's getting loaded up on dots. They're swapping with Denounces onto him. Half Fist of Justice. They're trying to kill Zonica right now. Star Surge comes in, hits reasonably hard, but now he's going to get bashed by Big Peter. The Cyclone was locked out from Big Peter. He might go for another clone. He gets trapped with the Maim cross CC. Botar trinkets immediately, dispelling Alpro, and Zion's Fall is getting pressured hard here. He does manage to countershot the Cyclone. Botar dipping really low here. Avenging Wrath up in 3, 2, 1, and he's probably going to have to pop it almost as soon as it comes up, but the Cyclone from Alpro is going to make sure he doesn't need to. Zonica dispelling some more dots, going back and forth here. No bops available just yet for Botar. He does have that Avenging Wrath. He does have the shield wall, but no trinket. Zonica pre-tremoring some fears here. Alpro into a Cyclone. Botar going to gateway across the map. Instantly gets connected back to. He has to pop the Avenging Wrath. Tops himself off. He needs to get this trap. He does manage to dispel the trap in time. Now Alpro going for Cyclones onto Big Peter, who got locked out. And the Incarnation is up from Alpro here, doing a bunch of damage to Zion's Fall here potentially, but he's doing a great job LOSing the Incarnation. He realizes how scary that cooldown is. He's just lining perfectly right now. The Bash is thrown out onto Swapsy to deny any fears coming in onto Zonica, and Alpro just not able to get anything done with that Incarnation. Good kiting from Zion's Fall, but now the Star Surges are connecting. Denounce is up as well. Incarnation from Big Peter, but there's a clone onto Zonica. This is not the time you want to go offensive. He has one deterrence left, and he's trying to hold on to it, but the Shadow Fury connects. He's going to trinket countershot, but he misses it. Now he's into the full Root Solar Beam. He's going to Master's Call him out of that and get the Spirit Link now down, but they're running out of cooldowns. At the same time, Botar has Aura Mastery available, but the next stun could be scary for him. Dark Soul's up. Drain Soul connects on Zion's Fall. Clone onto Big Peter. He's going to trigger that immediately, and he gets cloned on his trinket there. The Incarnation is now fading from Big Peter, so the pressure should be swinging around. But as I say, that Murder of Crows up on a Botar activates the Aura Mastery, but he's getting chunked through it. Fears onto Zion's Fall to try and peel the Bestial Wrath. Is it enough? 33%. He's getting destroyed right now by the Jungle Cleave. Shadow Fury barely coming in time, but it's not enough. Zion's Fall, Big Peter, the Deleter, proving their name correct and deleting Botar here in the first round on the Grand Arena. All right, we're going to get a map choice from the LSD2 here. This could be the last game of today. Might have one more game if this LSD2 manages to pull it back. Just waiting for the map selection of Toxic Youth here. And imagine with Botar as the kill target that almost no map is that great. Maybe Tolveron Arena. They're going to go with Blade's Edge just in case they do decide to swap to the Warlock swapsy. Blade's Edge is a decent pick. Typhoon is very good on this map, but so is Explosive Trap, so the advantage can go both ways. We're going to queue them up into potentially the last game of today. Can Toxic Youth turn it around? That's the question. And it is going to be played out here on Blade's Edge Arena. Let's see if Botar can deal with the pressure a little bit better this time. There were a lot of really good Cyclones on a Big Peter, as well as Big Peter Cyclones onto Swapsy and Alpro, and Zion's Fall did manage to LOS almost the entire Incarnation. I'd like to see maybe Alpro run with Soul of the Forest instead of Incarnation. I feel as long as Zion's Fall is aware and not stunned up, that Incarnation won't get Alpro very far, as opposed to the extra 15% damage reduction with Euphoria to reduce his cast times. He can get a lot of more big Starfires and big Wraths off if he does run that combination. Trents are very weak against Feral Druids, Hunters, and Ristachon combination, so I would like to see that, but he might choose to run Incarnation, maybe play a little bit more aggressive, use it earlier, try and get cooldowns faster. He did save the Incarnation for much later into the game, but he is in the center of the map right now, throwing some early dots onto Zion's Fall, trying to get some dots onto Zonica, maybe even trying to fake a counter shot here, but I don't think Zion's Fall is going to fall for that. Throws the Star Surge out onto Zonica, full dots onto him now. Full dots being loaded up onto Zion's Fall. There's a trap onto Swapsy. He's going to unbound Will out of that. The Murder of Crows is onto Botar right now. He throws at the Fist of Justice onto Big Peter, the Deleter, denying that deletation for now, but the Barrage comes out from Zion's Fall. It does a bunch of damage, but he should be able to recover back here. Spamming the Flash of Light. Murder of Crows is almost over, and Zonica in the meantime in the full bash has to use the Spirit Link to answer this huge damage out from Alpro, and he is choosing to run Force of Nature this game. Going to be rooting people a lot and being annoying with that, and they are just chasing after Zonica, but there's no Warlock dots on him just yet, and he's not going to fall to Alpro's pressure alone. Trap on the Alpro. He did shrink it into that full trap, and Botar into the full bash. He's out of LOS. He's not going to be able to dispel it. He has to use the shield wall. He's getting destroyed through it. 30% saved by the light proccing just in time. Shadow Fury onto Zonica, now fully dotted. Big Peter as well. Here's the spread pressure that they need. Haunts are coming out, but he gets cloned on the Haunt. He's going to trinket. He gets cloned on his trinket. Big Peter, the deleter, not just known for deleting, but also amazing Cyclones. Now Alpro going for Cyclones onto Big Peter, who still has his Incarnation, so if he's on DR for that CC, he's not going to be able to get CC'd when he pops his cooldowns, which could spell trouble for Botar. Fist of Justice coming out here. Zonica getting swapped to fairly hard here. He does pop the Aura Master. He's going to secure his HP here at a high value. Now the Murder of Crows onto Botar. Possibly the Incarnation from Big Peter here. The Maim is landed. He's going to trinket out of that. And Big Peter, man, he is patient. And that Murder of Crows is doing a lot of work. Alpro does manage to Cyclone the Barrage of Zion's Fall, denying that damage. But now a clone onto Alpro. Botar needs to bubble this. He gets locked out. He can't bubble. That's the game. Wow. That was not fun for Botar. Let's just say I don't think that was not fun for Botar. But good job from the Jungle Cleave. They didn't even need Incarnation. They don't even need that. Big Peter the Deleter does not need his cooldowns. He is just a deleter. Alright guys, that is going to conclude the games for today though. If you guys like the EU Tournament ProGameX here, be sure to donate, sign up on their website at ProGameX. All the links are down below for all the information that you need. Any support that we get is great, so if you're interested in doing that, look to do that down below in the info section. Some really good games played out today. Unfortunately, we had a rage quit from Bobs and Bits, so they are going to be knocked out of the tournament. And Toxic Youth as well is going to progress. Or sorry, not Toxic Youth. Toxic Youth is knocked out. Last second Jungle Cleave is going to progress to round 3 along with the Shatter Play in the losers bracket. And we're going to have some more games played out tomorrow. We're going to conclude the tournament tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the games and a little bit of drama on the side. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. See you later.